Hello, Teddy. How you doing today?
Hello, Margaret. I'm doing great. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so much. And this is June, and we're talking about high performance teams and collaboration. And so, Teddy is a leadership coach helping business owners lead high performing teams without burnout. And she worked for the Signet Jewelers Limited for 18 years as a leader. And then Teddy has been the CEO and founder of the Accelerate Your Potential coaching since February 22, and she lives in Redding, California. Welcome today. Thank you so much, Teddy.
Thank you so much for having me here, Margaret. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. So, talk to us about your journey. Now, you worked for the Signet Jewelers Limited for 18 years. Talk to us about that.
Yes, great company to work for. I've been with them for a very, very long time, and I had some great experiences, learned so many different things, and that's really where I had my first experience in leadership. So I would love to share with your audience, unlike what many people think, that leadership is just something that you lend into and you just kind of hop in, you learn a couple things, and everything runs smoothly. Um, my first experience with leadership was actually a failure. So I was very quickly promoted to a leadership position because I learned the technical part of my job very quickly. I enjoyed it. I love supporting people, helping them grow. And I was offered this amazing opportunity to be a leader. And I took it very eagerly. I was very excited. And, very quickly, I realized that it really, once I was in it, really wasn't quite exactly what I was expecting. So I remember one of the days I went into work, and my team was very seasoned team with people who were very, very experienced. And I remember asking a team member to complete a task, very politely explain all the whys and why we do it and what's their role. And she looked me straight in the eyes and said, I'm not doing this, and threw across the desk the sheets that I had given her for the phone calls to make. So I was very disappointed, and I very quickly realized that leadership really has quite a bit more than just, explaining what to do and things like that. So that was my first experience with leadership. And I've had many other opportunities to learn other things, but that's kind of how everything started at Signet Jewelers.
Interesting. What what did you do as a result of what she said to you? Can you tell us more about that?
So very honestly, first I was very offended, and I first I was in complete disbelief that such a thing can happen, right? Because
Right.
I'm the type of person that when I work for somebody, I have the utmost respect, and I may not personally agree or like the task that I'm given, but most likely I'll complete it to the best of my ability. So I very quickly learned that people are different. Then resistance is not necessarily a bad thing. It's usually fear, could be a request for more information. And I quickly learned that just different people process things very differently. So being flexible and knowing what to do next was one of those very important lessons. But to be honest, in the moment, so these are my learnings now. It's easy, when we look back to say what happened. But in the moment, I was just very puzzled, and I really did not do anything. I thought very different things I could have said, but I simply didn't.
I see. I see. So, as your leadership journey continued, what made you decide to leave Signet and become CEO and founder of your own company?
It's a great question. So I've had the opportunity, after this initial failure, and in that particular situation, I was demoted very quickly. It was just a couple months, and I really realized I really was not ready for the position. And later on, as life happens, I had great opportunity to step into a position that was even higher than my previous one. I had the opportunity to build teams up from the ground, also to lead very seasoned teams as well throughout the country. And I very quickly realized that the favorite part of my job really was developing people, really taking somebody, hiring them as like very, very entry level person and building them up. And within a year, they get to run their own teams. And that's really where my passion is, and this is where I feel I can mostly help people. So I decided to do it on a bigger scale and start my own coaching company. So that was really the main motivation behind starting Accelerate Your Potential Coaching.
Amazing, amazing. So during this transition of helping individuals, um, now you are B2B.
Correct.
And okay, so talk to me about some of the lessons that you learned along the way.
Yes, yes. Great lessons, again, just kind of like how I first entered into leadership. I thought that building your own business, how difficult could that be? After all, the way our business was run at Signet Jewelers, we're kind of like in charge of our own units, in charge of our own teams. We kind of managed our own P&L and everything else. So our income depended on that as well. So I felt I was very well prepared. I had this great knowledge. And as life has it, I figure out that working for a company and having your own business are two very, very different things.
Hmm.
Um, so, I very quickly had to learn that now I don't have an HR department I can rely on. I don't have anyone to do marketing and advertising. And all of a sudden, I found myself into this position that I'm wearing all of these different hats. And honestly, I think the most positive things out of it is really the personal development we go through when we build a business. Because we come across things that we would never come across otherwise. These are scenarios and just different situations that we never encounter. And we learn even quicker than working for a corporation or for someone else, where there is safety, there is security, but there is also significantly slower growth. So it's a great privilege, as I always say, and also great responsibility to make that jump into working for yourself and being responsible about everything that happens in your business.
That's quite interesting because I'm leaving the federal sector and now I have become an entrepreneur, whereas I was just tasked with one specific task. And, I'll perfect that to, you perfect things as you continue to do them. Now I have to do everything, and everything that I do requires me to learn a new system. So it's a little bit more challenging, would you say?
Absolutely. It's a huge challenge because, I've never knew anything about marketing, for example. I thought, how difficult could that be, right? I just tell them what I offer, and it's just as simple as that. And it's not just the system. It's like, I think the biggest difference between working for a corporation or a company and then working for yourself, it's really the clarity of vision of what is it that you want. Because that's, the starting point. And if we have just like a vague big picture of, I really want to help the world, I want to help people and all of that, that's a great starting point. But we really need to have extreme clarity of what we want, how do we want to get there. To your point, learning a lot of different systems, finding out what systems we need, finding out what works, what is, within our market, what are the people's needs, most importantly, what is it that they need? Because I can offer a variety of different products and services, but if it doesn't serve them, they're absolutely no good. And having that flexibility of learning and knowing what and how, in my opinion, is really a lifelong lesson. Like I can never say that I have learned it or I have arrived. That would be the journey of growth and learning.
Absolutely. Now tell me the challenges of being a coach in a crowded space. How do you set yourself apart from other coaches?
Yeah. That's one of the things that, as we go to this journey of having our own business, we think that we are very unique and different, and yes, we are. But probably one of the most challenging things is actually communicating what we do, communicating to the people we serve in a way that makes sense to them. Because a lot of times, when I first started, I was very broad and I was telling everybody, I help with anything leadership, right? Who wouldn't jump on that offer and quickly
Right?
realize it really wasn't that compelling to many people. So that's really getting to know your clients really on a very, very deep level. The people who we want to serve, getting to know them, how they think, what is it that they really need? What are some of the pain points they're going through? What are some of their dreams? What is it that they're hoping for? What is it that their day-to-day life look like? And most importantly, how can I help them in a very, very, in a way where it really can make the biggest difference in their lives? And as much as we think, because that learning goes on different levels. We first start with, okay, well, I know what the problem is, and then going deeper, but truly, really getting people and understanding what are their needs, what is it that they want, and being able to match that service. And I think this is really what separates great coaches from good coaches, having the ability to know what is it that they need and really look at every individual client as this person, even though they have some general similarities to others, this person is a unique person. There isn't a one fits all approach. They are gonna have general problems, but they're also a very unique person, and they would have a different pace that they'll do things with. They're gonna have a different motivation. And I feel that a great coach can really lead this client, really customize the plan that they're offering to this particular person so they can really get the most out of it.
Absolutely. As we know, individuals are whole and we meet the client where they are. Okay. And so many times, sometimes the client really don't know what they need or what they want because they come to you. I've had a client come to me. I want to work on time management. And it ends up when you end up talking to him, it was actually something else
Abs-
entirely. Okay.
Absolutely.
So it's not, sometimes it's not just one thing, it's a multitude of things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then really, positioning ourselves, that's really the ability to understand really the root cause of why does the person, like in your example, why do they struggle with time management? That's like the symptom, but what is it really that makes time being challenging? Especially nowadays with technology, there are so many different apps, there is so much different tools. But the question is, it's not about the tool, it's like, what is it about this person that makes it difficult for them? And it's rarely about the environment or the behavior. It's mostly about the identity. How do they see themselves? If they think, I'm not good with time management, well, that's exactly the type of behavior they will produce as a result. So you're right. Our job here is to really, really go to the root cause. And typically, as you know, that solves other problems too. So that's a great observation.
Absolutely. And this is the power of coaching and self coaching as well. So, what I would like to ask you in this current landscape, um, how are you seeing the coaching industry changing as a result of that, of these changes that are happening around the world?
Yes. I think that there is significantly more need for coaching than any time in human history, simply because we are facing problems that are quite a bit more complex than they've ever been. And that includes not just, what's happening in our external environment, but also as a result, what happens on the inside. So our leadership, our self-leadership really is the very first thing that comes to mind. And if we cannot lead ourselves, we certainly cannot lead other people either. And I think coaching is really a great way to not only get our goals and our outcomes and everything we want in life, but also live a fulfilling life. Because it's really sad how many business owners and leaders in large corporations at the highest level, they, on paper it looks great. They perform, they make good money, seemingly they have a good life. And when you get to talk to them, there is a lot of emptiness. There is a lot of disconnect between what they do and a level of fulfillment. And I believe that now more than ever, we need coaching, even for that particular reason. Like, help this person be a whole person, be really present in everything they do, not just in the leadership skills and the performance and getting where they need to be, but really living that life that they truly want. Because it's sad to see somebody checking off all the marks on the list, having this successful life, and asking themselves the question, well, is there all there is? So I believe that coaching is really the missing link that can help people live a purposeful and fulfilled life on all levels, not just in leadership, but in their personal life as well.
I couldn't agree more. Okay. And so, with all of that being said, Teddy, what advice would you give to your younger self looking back?
Very good question. The advice I would give my younger self would be get to know yourself very well first.
Okay. Okay.
Get to know yourself, understand yourself, accept yourself, and then you can help others do the same. And just the fact that we know who we are, we understand our behaviors, we understand our inner conflicts that we live in throughout our entire lives, we all have them. And rather than getting stuck into this kind of like, why am I the way I am, or why this isn't happening, or I don't know what I want, why do I have everything and I still feel that way? Really having that clarity of who am I, what's important to me, what are my values, what is my direction, what is my purpose. It's probably the best advice I could give my younger self.
Well, Teddy, thank you so much for coming here and having this conversation today. I will make sure to include the links, your LinkedIn, and thank you again. And you have a good day.
Absolutely. It's been a great pleasure, Margaret. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.